Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. It's time to trust your intuition. This is your inner knowings. Through questions and points of conversation, I can help others feel empowered. With the ability to touch people's past lives, I help others connect and not feel alone. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995. Good afternoon, everybody. Here I am again, and happy to see everybody hopefully is tuning into my show to ask me questions. Let me just give the number out. It's 888-994-4995. Anything that you want to ask me, I'm here and I will answer your questions. Basically, today's show, especially the second half, is going to be on UFOs. Right now, it's past lives and deja vu. So if you want to call in, please feel free to call in. I have an amazing amount of people in my studio here that are all very good friends. A new very good friend, Lola, Claire and Rose, who is actually a twin of mine from a previous life. So this is perfect time to talk about past lives. Okay, so I'm going to open it up for questions. Anybody that wants to call in, please do so, or anyone in the studio. Thank you. I just met Lola, and I think we have a lot in common, right, Lola? Yeah.
I guess I suppose I have a question.
Can you speak up a little bit? Yeah.
I have a question. Can you tell me where I'm coming from?
Well, I can relate very much to your story, Lola. I know we only met like 2 hours ago, but I believe, and as my viewers know, there is no coincidences. And what you have come forth with, some of the things with your artwork, I can relate very much to, because I started 18 years ago, as my viewers know. I had never painted anything in my life. It's completely a spiritual experience. When I was listening to you on the prior show, everything that you were talking about, I related so much. Again, and I mentioned this many times, there's no such thing as coincidences in my life, and I believe that too. So we're all, actually every one of us, my good friend Rose and my good friend Claire, and now you're definitely included in that. It's amazing. It's amazing. The studio has been really like a magnet to bring in people that I can relate to. So if you have a question about a previous life, your art, I'd be happy to answer.
Well, the question is, can you see where I'm coming from? Because I did past life regression once and I saw a red planet. And
Okay.
That's as much as I could see.
Yes, and I heard you mention that, and right away I said, oh, okay. Actually, the second half of my show, I have Russ Johnson, who is very much into all of this, being abducted himself and myself too. So I can relate very much. This is not coincidence that you're here. I believe that you are definitely from another planet, which we'll talk about in the next half of my show. I myself have had many experiences traveling to other off planets, as they call it today. I didn't realize that in the beginning of my journey. I thought I was, even though astral projection is sounding strange, but many people do understand astral projection. But my story is that I went to many different planets. It's only over the last 3 or 4 months that I realized that I had been abducted many times. Just to clarify this, I have never ever had a bad abduction. Every one that I have been abducted to has been amazing on different planets. I feel that you are definitely from another planet, which I think you can relate to, correct? Am I correct in saying that? You're here now, and your artwork, which is not similar to mine, but it comes in the same way as mine, from another place. Yours is coming from your home, which is somewhere else. Mine is also coming, and this is a couple of my artwork, but I have many from other planets too. So right away, as soon as I heard you talking about your story, I knew we had a connection there, Lola. It's great. Okay, I'm very happy to have met you. Thank you, but please feel free to ask me any questions that you want during the show.
Thank you.
Hi,
Sally.
Rose.
Hi, Sally. I know a lot of people know about reincarnation and coming back to life again, but I don't think a lot of people don't know the soul twin, the soul being split. And we are the split soul, and we're sharing the same soul. And sometimes when I say this, people just don't understand. And you and I, we know. Can you explain to viewers what is the soul splitting? It's like, and giving some example, like how our life is similar, even like, with living in totally different countries, different cultures, but the experience, the emotion, the feelings we go through, even last week, even like we're in the different places, even our health is like, or similar things. It's like, even how continuous our life is being a twin. Because we are soul twins.
That
so
was our validation for, we don't need it because we've had it over the last few years since we've known one another.
Yeah.
But somehow the moment that we met, we knew we had a connection together. And then following through with that, over the last few years, we've had so many, quote, which we would think coincidences. They're not, Rose. We are part of, I would say, the other half of who we are. As much, I'm only just beginning to really understand that. But as we say, nothing is coincidence. So every time I open something, it seems to be about twin flames. It doesn't have to be of the opposite sex. We think that, but not necessarily. You can have a twin flame from the opposite sex. But of course, when we're in spirit, none of this matters because we come back many times as different male or female. We have that connection. We tuned into that. We did not ignore it. And that's the most important part of this whole situation here. We did not ignore it because so many things were happening that we, at the same time, we were having very similar experiences, which anybody would say, well, that could happen maybe once or twice, but through a period of, I've known you now about 3 years, right?
Almost 4.
4 years. So much was happening that we could not deny it. So we started to call each other sisters. We are sisters. We're soul sisters. That is different.
And then also the visions we had from the past lives, from Italy, from Turkey, showing up in the boat and living in the house in Italy. It's like we have the same memories, how that could possibly happen. I believe we lived a life as a sisters, actual materialized in the world as a sisters before, and then also sharing the soul same time too.
Absolutely, Rose, because where I'm coming from in my life today, as you know, I cannot say anything is accidental. It's definitely meant to be. We were lucky enough. I mean, the moment we met each other, we had that connection, as I have with you and as I had with you. The three of us, we all have an instant connection when we first met. The thing is, and just to talk to people that may be listening and saying, what are they talking about? The only thing that I can say is don't ignore that, because you have a certain bond, you have a feeling. It's, unless you experience it, it's kind of hard to understand that, but the bond is there. There is like, I know that person, and again, it can be of the same sex, it can be of a different sex, it doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. But the moment you feel that, kind of listen to yourself and say, I feel like I've known that person before. It doesn't have to be a twin flame. It could be someone that you knew from a past life, but you can't ignore it, because you know what happens, and it happened with us. We continue to see each other, and suddenly we're getting one thing, and we're saying, well, that could be coincidence. It wasn't. Then another, and then you open up and say, this is not coincidence. How could all these things be happening? So open up for people that are maybe just tuning into my show and they may not know my whole story. I started to listen to these. You can't ignore it. The feeling is so strong. It's like, I know that person. I feel comfortable with that person. You have the same beliefs. You have so many things in common that how can you ignore that?
Yeah, we do complete each other's sentences. Also, our life is very similar. Even like you got married to Steve. I'm dating Michael. And even our anniversaries are like, a year later,
Yes.
we celebrate our anniversary in the same time. And also our men's, their personalities pretty much.
Very much so.
And then even sometimes, even we have some kind of health things, like if my blood pressure goes up, her blood pressure goes
Oh my
up.
God,
How can
that
you
was
explain
incredible.
that?
Yes.
How can you explain that?
Exactly. You can't. I mean, we both have, unfortunately, but we talked about it. for the last couple of weeks, my blood pressure's been very high. Exactly. I don't know if I even want to tell people on the show what it was. And one of the first things you said to me when we talked, you said, my blood pressure is so high. It was exactly the same as mine. How does that happen? It just
And then
doesn't
my
happen.
boyfriend was saying, it's like, wow, like, you know, you're going to see a doctor. And the same thing your husband was
Saying
saying.
exactly
It's
the
like,
same.
just like our life is so similar, and the feeling-wise, emotion-wise, we go through. I think that's the part of being a soul twins. And that's what I'm trying to explain. You know, it's like, it's just when you come to a world as a soul twin, even you have a totally different countries and situations, but the feelings are same. You know, the feelings from the life experiences, the situations, we go through the same kind of feeling. We get same kind of soul lessons, I guess.
Absolutely, Rose. And, you know, we are very connected. So we have worked out that we were soul twins. I truly believe that. But there are other people, as you are, Rose, and as my new friend here, Lola, we have been connected in other lifetimes. I'm absolutely certain of that. It doesn't necessarily have to be your other half as a soul twin. It's people that we have known, as my show is about previous lives, the first half of this. You have that instant connection the moment you meet. You were talking about your art, Lola. You're also an artist, Claire. We met accidentally, quote, but we didn't. We arrived at a workshop where I'm never late, and you're walking in at exactly the same time. Otherwise, we wouldn't have met. We met, we had a lot in common. We were talking about food, I believe, being gluten-free. So we had a mutual thing to talk about. You are Lola, you're an artist, so your art is coming from a very, very similar place to mine. So how can we ignore that when you're saying it's spiritual art? That's what I call myself, spiritual art. I've never had a lesson. And as you were talking on the last show, I related so much to that I had to, something, antennas go up. I have to listen to this lady. I feel very comfortable with her. We have something very similar in common. It's something that it's hard to explain to viewers, but if you have that when you meet someone and you feel that you have an instant connection, my advice is go with it. You don't necessarily even have to believe in previous lives. Of course I do, and everyone in the studio here does, but you may be just beginning your journey. Just keep an open mind. My message with all this that we're talking about is open your mind up to maybe there is a little more than what we see. We do connect. It's like a magnet. We don't always meet everybody from another lifetime, but when you do, if you're on that journey, you will definitely feel it. From my experiences, I can only talk from what I feel, but I've met several people from previous lives, including the person that has been on my journey for many years, who is now still my guide, although he's in spirit. He's still with me. He had been in another lifetime and told me all about it and explained to me who I was. May not have even believed that, but because I became an artist later on in my life, I'm drawing from that lifetime, not even knowing what I'm drawing. He only opened up to me after I'd had my first experience with this astral projection and said he knew me from another life. He had known me 1 year and never approached me until I was ready. And that's very much a key too, because had he have told me before I'd had any type of experience, I wouldn't have been ready and probably wouldn't have believed him. So that's very important. My journey, I want to tell people because it happened to me. I didn't understand it, but 18 years later, I do. And he's since passed, but he's never left me. So.
And also, I believe when we're coming through this world, and some of us, like most of us, like all of us, come as a team. There's a certain people, we come a group, and we could be spread around the world, but we always cross paths. And eventually we get together, we cross paths, and we meet each other. And we play some kind of role in each other's life. And I do believe we come back as a team, like we pick our teammates
We
too.
have a soul family, Rose, as
Soul
you know,
family,
we know too.
yeah.
So even though I'm in the studio here with just 3 people, we're connected. So I would say we're all connected Because if I'm connected to you, Claire, and you to you, Lola, and also, can I see Dawn over there? I know that she's part of this journey. It's hard to see with the light. This is not coincidence that we're all sitting here. And you will get a feeling, it's hard to explain, but you feel you're home with family. I've just met you, Lola, and I'm sure, I'm aware, I don't want to talk for you, but I feel that you feel that too, right? Am I correct in saying that? Absolutely. So it's something that when it happens, you know that it's happening and you can't explain it, but you feel comfortable. You feel very, and again, it can happen in reverse too. You can meet somebody and for some reason, you may never have spoken to that person, but I'm not going to say, I don't want to be negative because my show is very positive, but you can say, don't feel comfortable around that person. That somebody maybe in a previous life that you had some sort of problem with. Karma, you may have to meet that person again because I do believe in that. Not exactly how we describe karma, but I do believe in karma. So that person, we don't meet people, even for a few minutes, accidentally. I truly believe that. We're meant to meet the people. Whether we follow up or not, that's our choice because we have free will. But when you have comfort with people, why not, you know?
And also, you and I, we both believe in, like, even the people who comes to our life and maybe we will have a hard time and maybe they're kind of playing the bad people role. But because we are energy, energy is a negative and positive, and just the positive cannot exist without having the negative. And so we have to have the balance, and for our soul to learn lessons, and we do need those people sometime. And I do always appreciate, because I feel like this world is a movie, and those are our friends to play these roles. And when we just get out of this world, go back, and we're just going to realize this was just a game, and they're just doing their job, they're playing their role. It's like, it's like everybody's like, they're just like an actress,
so,
right?
Happy you brought that up, Rose, because we're here to learn, as you and I have discovered over the last few years too, and I've got more into that. So the people that come back into our lives from previous lifetimes, we have karma with. It could be good karma, it may not be good karma, but there's always a reason why somebody, especially if you get close to that person, from my point of view, there's always a reason for that. And there can be little subtle things that will get you close, as we've just met, and that's a very good example. Your story about your art is so similar to mine. Why was I here at the Brooklyn Cafe at about the same time that you just came in?
And I got all ones, 111.
Yes, and that's a beautiful example. You mentioned and as my viewers know, and maybe new viewers too, I'm very much into the numbers 1111. And as you're talking, just for a few minutes, you brought up the number 1111. That's not, how can that be coincidence? Yes, people can say maybe the first time, well, that can happen. But there is a definite draw there. There is something to say, well, okay, you see this, there's a number here, and it's very, very, very important to see that, to look at it and not overlook these little subtle hints of what we're together. We're together. I feel the three, well, four if I include Dawn. Dawn, you definitely. I feel that, not to leave you out. I know you're being very quiet and you're very active usually, but I feel definitely that we've known, that, we've known each other from a previous life. Absolutely.
Sally, I'm looking at the monitor over here and I look up and it says 11:11
There you go.
on the clock. Now, the clock should be on the regular time, but it's not. It's at
It's
11:11.
saying 11:11?
I just took a picture and I posted it because
Oh my goodness.
the clock just came up at 11:11.
Perfect. Perfect. That was-
Angels are here.
I just showed it to Lola. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so happy that you shared that, Dawn, because I'm not including you. Usually you're the one that's asking me the question.
Oh, I'm busy looking at all the signs around here, so we're good.
Beautiful, beautiful. See, it happened right here on the air, 11:11. I don't know if you well, I know that you are definitely associated with, but there are other numbers, but 11:11 is definitely my number, yes.
And also, it's like God is like like we are all one. It's like the source, and we're gonna turn into source, and we are all one. Doesn't matter. It's like it's a billions of people. It's like in the end, even with the billions of people, just wear one.
Well, yes, and that actually could be a whole nother show because we've all split off from source, which actually
Right.
I was hopefully Russ, who's going to be here in the next part of my show, we were just talking about that the other day. We are all one. We're just particles of that one source. God, I don't want to take God out of the equation, and people are religious. I totally respect that. But we're all part of the same. We just have split off in many, many different ways. Of course, that's a whole nother show.
And
but
we're
that-
experiencing life in the physical form, the spark, the divine spark. That we
Perfect.
are all divine.
Perfect.
That's why it's so important for us to see even the person mistreating us, look at him with or her with compassion and as a part of you. Everybody's part of you. They're on a different level of learning. Some of them,
Exactly.
sometimes I see people, a person like misbehaving, I'm like, oh, I was this 20 years ago. And I feel compassion because I didn't mature at that point. So it's very important to treat everybody as one,
Perfect.
even
Perfect.
if it's impossible.
You know, just to go back into what's actually happened here today, because it's happened right in the studio. Dawn with the 11:11, you being on the last show talking about exactly very similar experiences to me. Claire, who's here, who we thought we met accidentally and we didn't. We've been friends now for about 8 years, right? And my twin here. How does this happen? We're all in the studio together. The feeling is amazing. I hope you all feel the same. Can you feel that connection? Yeah. Freddie, are you there? I can't see. I don't know if Freddie's sitting there, but you are included in this if you are, Freddie.
I am. I'm here. I'm just looking at the people that come into studio and how it always seems to fall in line with what you're talking about. And every time I dismiss it and say, okay, that was just a coincidence. It's not going to happen again. It happens again, and then it happens again. And Vismaya was here, and Lola was here, and Arthur was here, and they all are falling in line with the same thing that you're talking about now.
It's amazing, isn't it? And it's all happening here. And let me say this out loud at the Brooklyn Cafe. Anybody locally, please come in. It won't be coincidental. I'm seeing it happening here. My show is every Monday at 3 o'clock. If you're nearby, please. If you're not, just tune in and try and make an appointment to come in here at the Brooklyn Cafe, please. It works. This is amazing.
And Sally,
Amazing.
I wanted to ask you, being that it's Holy Week, on different religions and for different religions, do you see a message, especially this year, unlike last year? There's a lot more turbulence going on right now. Do you see a message that we can sort of summarize for the week?
Well, and I'm going to say this because it's happening here. I think we all need to come together, be it whatever the reasons that we need to find a mutual ground. That's what I'm hearing, so that we can kind of go on this journey without all this anger. It's everybody. Everybody is so angry all the time. You feel it as you're driving a car, someone honks you and they say, oh my gosh, what are they doing? Have patience a little bit. We're all together in this, unfortunately, mess right now. But we can get out of this, okay? And by example, if we show that gratitude is one, because we have a guest here who actually is not in the studio right now who talks about gratitude. We just look at the best part of our life, and let's all try to get together over this, no matter what it is. Don't get angry so much. It's easy to say, and I can sit here and say that. I get angry too. I'm normal. I'm human. But if we can just be aware of our anger, if we can be aware of the gratitude of what we actually have, all these little things, they all add up and make this life a little better for us, a little easier. We are shifting, if anybody knows a little bit about, and understands this, we are on the process of shifting into a different dimension. And this will only really work if we can try and see this. We're in what they call the 3D dimension, and we're going into a 5D. It's not easy, even for people that understand that. They get many, many different messages. They're going, oh, I feel angry. They don't know why. Suddenly they'll feel great. Just find that balance, and maybe we can all pull through this in a happier lifetime, hopefully.
It's the likes attracts likes, and I did, I still do spiritual life coaching, and I say it's like whenever you have that angry moment, because it's going to attract more negative things into your life. So if you don't want more negative, just change your mind and change your life. It's like, you got to just turn into a positive. And I say turn on some kind of music, something, like just snap out of it. Because if you don't snap out of it, if you're walking around angry person, there's things going to because you're going to be attracting more negative things into your life. That's what I advise them, and that's what usually happens.
And I'm seeing that more and more, Rose, because if you get into, say, more of the negative of life and you get more and more angry, you're going into what I now understanding much more, into a lower vibration.
Right.
When you go into that, you're attracting people on that lower vibration.
Exactly.
If you lift yourself up, and I say this many times, let's fake it till we make it.
Exactly.
If you're feeling depressed, say, okay, I'm depressed, but let's try and see what's going to happen today. I'm going to have a good day. You will start to attract everybody that's helping you to have a good day because they're on that vibrational energy. This is really, really important.
You attract what you are.
Yes, and you get more and more because we're actually going out of this dimension. And this came to me the other night, into a higher vibrational energy, which is coming from a different dimension. So this part is very, very important. So if all this, you're going, oh my gosh, what is she talking about? I don't understand. My message very much is, please try to, and I preach positivity. Try to rise when you are at that state, and we all do because we're here. Try to get out of that. Fake it. Say, I'm happy today. What's going to happen? All good things are going to happen. We attract all those good things and they come to us. This is very, very important.
Yeah. Fake it until you make it.
Fake it. And I love that, Rose.
Yeah.
I love that part of the story because, people know that, but it is so important because we're lifting that vibration into what we would call, and not everyone is going to understand that, into a 5D dimension. So the people that have already, let's say, arrived in that dimension are now saying, they're with us.
Yeah.
We can talk to them. So now what we do is, say what you want that day, we can materialize
And
that.
we could also reprogram ourselves subconsciously. And if we keep repeating, keep faking it until we make it, it's like our subconsciously, we just turn into change our mood from negative to positive, and we
Perfect.
will start attracting the more positive into our life.
And for people that may be skeptical, try it. What can
Yeah,
happen?
you
If it
can't
doesn't
lose
work, it doesn't work.
Right.
But you've raised, and I know, Lola, I don't know you. We've had very little conversation, but I know that you understand this. It's amazing how this works.
Even people with sometimes they say, it's like, well, I want to be successful, I want to have more money. I said, okay, if you want to have more money, do you like money? And if the person believes that money is evil, money is energy. It's not coming to them. You got to love the money, and you got to appreciate it could do good if you used good ways. And you have to respect it, love it. It's energy, and it will come to you.
Perfect.
It's like you have to have a positive mindset. If you think money is the evil of the everything, it's like root of the evil, and it's not going to come to you.
So really, what we put out, we get back.
Right.
So if you're putting out negativity, you're going to get negativity back. Even if you're having a bad day, you can change that bad day by putting out this positivity. This is a really important message. I don't know if we're going to a commercial shortly because I see Russ that came here, because we are going to slightly change this topic, but by all means, please, and I know that you definitely know about this, Lola. You're not accidentally here. We're going to talk again about planets and UFOs on the next part of our show.
I just want to add that it would be nice to give people instruments how to do to change from negative to positive. For me personally, I sing mantras. If I see that sometimes I pick up negative thoughts that are not mine, but they're like floating in the ether, and if it hits and I know it does not belong, I become aware this is not me, and I sing mantras and it goes away. So naturally and beautifully.
Exactly.
Or walks in nature, being in nature around
Anything,
animals.
because we all have different triggers,
Yeah.
let's say, that will
Yeah.
put us back into positivity.
If you
So-
go turn on TV, it's gonna only get worse. But
Exactly,
do
but
something,
if-
something beautiful. Mantras. Be around positive people. Sing mantras. Go play with animals. Volunteer in shelter.
Perfect.
It
Whatever
helps.
that person feels very comfortable with, that's going to lift their energy, and helping other people definitely does. I mean, going to a shelter or anything, to have that gratitude that we're not there at that part, place in time. Just to have that gratitude, anything that will lift that vibration.
Yeah.
Over the last few weeks, I mean, I've talked about this, but I've become so aware of this. We all have things in our life that bring us down, but just try not to get caught up with it. Just lift your vibration. We are reaching another vibrational energy, which I call the fifth vibrational energy. It's very important. Thank you. I think we're going for a commercial. Anybody that's listening, please call in. Our next half of the show is with Russ Johnson, who is going to be talking about off-planet and how many people have been abducted. And it's strange that you're in the studio here. Not each one of us, actually. I'm not sure, Claire, if you're aware of it, but there's no coincidences you're here at this time. Thank you. We'll be back in a few seconds.
A true story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
This world, this life, this illusion. What is going on, we ask? What is happening? Why not take time and see what is happening? This world as we know it, it seems so real, and yet so far away from where we've come. Corruption, greed, anger, power, revenge. Please wake up. We can change what is around us. How, we may ask? Learn to go back to where we were. Then we will have the clues. Then we can change and go forward. Please take the time. Do not fall into the game which we have put upon ourselves. We can change. We can make a difference. We have the power, each and every one of us. Go in peace. Go with love. Go as one. Zena. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you could always seek me out for resources. Visit artbysallybarnard.com today. Now, back to the show. She's an artist and she draws. Oh, okay, I'm just filling in Russ, who we're talking about UFOs, but nothing is coincidental because we do have my new friend Lola, who's also had experiences, right? We're talking about off-planet today, the other half of our show.
Right.
Let me introduce my guest, Russ Johnson.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so he's here to ask me questions, and anyone in the studio, feel free to ask me questions on this. Okay?
You said the lady has been abducted?
This lady, I believe, from what you're telling me with your art, you kind of mentioned that a little bit, right?
Well, I did past life regression, and as far as I could go, I saw red planet,
Right.
and I saw like going through tunnel of birth canals. Like I was like reborn many times.
So you're saying maybe you're from another planet that came here, but you're aware of that. I'm not misrepresenting you.
I'm trying to see if anybody can see, like, can fill out the space. Like I can I have my vision of the story, but I want to see if you can see or feel me.
You're in
And
good company.
I
because
kind
this
of
is what
don't
we're
want to
talking
give it away.
about. Okay, that's okay. That's fine, Lola. Thank you. But the question, feel free to ask any questions. If we feel something, we'll definitely say. So, Russ, have you got any questions for me
Well,
today?
she mentioned that she might have been from another planet.
Right.
Visiting here.
Yes.
It's true. They say it's approximately, out of the 9 billion people here, that about a third of them from other planets who decided to incarnate here so they can experience this, whatever we're going to do in the next couple of years.
Well, again, I always talk about on my show, nothing is coincidental. And we just met, and you came back. You weren't necessarily going to come back here. So I don't feel that this is coincidence that you had said that you are. That's what got my antennas up, that you felt that you were from another planet originally. Okay. So again, this is not coincidental, because this is what the next half of our show is going to be about.
We should talk to this other lady who's a clairvoyant and an intuitive and a psychic. She's Jillian Breen.
Right.
You talked to her before. She has a lot of information on that, how other species have decided to come here at this time for that 26,000 year turnover, whatever that is, to experience what's happening. So yeah, look, people have come.
And also their higher energy, and they raise the vibration. That's, I believe, like that's why we're here. It's like, it's like Sally and I, we have we were like working at the spaceship. It's like, so we cannot be normal human working at the spaceship. I think we're living in some space, like some other planet. That's our memories from.
Right, yes. And this is my friend Rose that I had
Oh,
mentioned, who is
okay.
my twin from other lifetimes.
Oh, I see.
Definitely.
Okay.
And I think it's like there's so many of them down in the earth right now. It's like to raise the vibration of the planet here.
Well,
now.
I think we need the help here, which we are actually going to talk a little bit about it. This planet, as I had said for viewers that are just tuning in, it's a little different from my call in, but this is very dear to me, this subject. We need a little help with our planet, because from what I understand and what I hear from my own collective, is that our planet is in trouble.
Yeah, true.
And we are putting out things into the so-called the universe as we know that are toxic. So we are being watched, as far as I know, and this is just what I believe, but I have had many messages and validations on this. We are being watched by other planets, because we don't want to disappear, so to speak. Although, just to make a disclaimer here, I don't believe we ever disappear. We may just go to another planet. But, we've worked very hard on Earth to create what we've had. So let's try and figure this out, that we don't put all this toxic energy and whatever it is up into the universe. That's basically what I feel that's what the show should be about.
Yeah, most people have seen the recent disclosure, a soft disclosure, that the Pentagon has talked about the Tic Tac and the UFOs, and they don't know what they are and all of that. But they do know what they are. But that's another story. But if they wanted to really dig deep into this story, and somebody who has done a tremendous amount of work, it would be Dr. Stephen Greer. And he has a website. You can go, just Google him, and he's all over the place. He stepped away about 1993 to be from being an emergency room physician in charge of that. To start studying all of this.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, he'll be in Washington, D.C. on June 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th at the National Press Club talking about this to a worldwide audience.
So what we feel, and definitely my message is, we're not alone with just this theory. There are many people, many doctors, many professors, many people that are very interested in this, because I believe that we're coming very close to disclosure. And I feel that my program talking about this, if I don't bring this up, I'm kind of giving a disservice to my viewers. Yes, I have my call-in show. I won't go too deeply into the second half of this, but just to help people become aware that if we do have a disclosure of some kind, it's okay. It's helping us.
Well, it has to happen.
And I believe it does.
It's time.
And I've come out on my show to say that I now know I wasn't just what we call astral projecting. I was actually abducted many times. Am I scared about this? Not at all. I feel that I have a reason to come out now and say all the planets which I wrote about that I was going to, they were taking me. I have only, just to let people know this, had what they call friendly abductions. I have never been scared except for the very last one, but I won't go into that. Nothing happened because someone was protecting me. But most of the time, I feel a lot of them are friendly, just to help our planet. They're trying to tell us what we're doing. We're putting toxicity in the air. We're doing so many things, all the negativity. Let's turn this around, and to make my show still, as it is a positive show, let's try to be kind to one another. And if disclosure comes about, let's all group together. They're not here, as far as I know, to hurt us. They're just trying to tell us, you're in trouble here. Give us, they're abducting, as you had said. Many, many people are being abducted. I feel that they give what we would call experiments on us. They wipe our memory, is to find out what's happening to our bodies with all the toxicity that we're putting into this planet. So they're trying to help us.
True.
That's my message.
Well, that's a good message, because
Right.
if you go to listen to Dr. Stephen Greer, that's one. The other person I would say, get his books with Michael Seller. You've read some of Seller's
Yes,
material.
I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Dr. Seller is a very prolific writer and very accomplished researcher. So he talks about Antarctica. He talks about Kennedy and Eisenhower, what they went through and all of that. So it's a great book to get. It's very easily read. And the people who don't like to read, get the audio and listen to what he has to say. You can get it from Amazon.
So I'm going to open it up maybe
Go
to
ahead.
the
Go
studio
ahead.
if you have some questions. But these are credible people that are talking about abductions, that are talking about that we're not alone here. So it's not just my message or your message, Russ. There is plenty of opportunity for people to go and research more of this. Has anyone in the studio got a question that they'd like to ask about this?
Mr. Ross Johnson, can you tell us about your story? Have you been abducted?
story?
And why are you talking about aliens?
I've been on radio and television for many, many, many years. I started back in, Oprah and I used to work together in 1972. She was at WJZ TV 13. I was at WBA TV 11 as a newscaster and an interview on her station. So, but I've been in radio and television for a lot of years as a disc jockey, playing music, Motown, talk shows, disc jockey, a news director and all of that. So I just had an abiding interest in all of this, because back in 1992, when I was on the American radio networks, I used to be broadcasting over about 30 states on that system. And I used to do a program every now and again about UFO and aliens. But I stepped away from it to get out here and make a living rather than run behind aliens all the time and stay poor. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway.
And it's interesting how we actually met. We've only known each other maybe about 8 weeks, or maybe it's a little longer right now.
Something like that,
But
yeah,
again,
yeah.
which I had talked about in the first part of this show, how nothing is coincidental. You come in, I am actually putting a book out there that will be
Yeah.
ready in a couple of months. And we were working on that, and you came in, as Freddie had said, there's
Sure.
someone you'd like to meet. And instantly, I knew that I knew you. And I
Okay.
didn't know it was about UFOs, but you actually have opened up so much for me,
Good.
Russ, to realize that all
Good.
these, what I thought, and some were astral projections, were abductions. And it was very important for me to understand that. My guide had left me, but although he told me that there was something that he wasn't going to tell me until I knew, now he's left. You were able to tell me this by what you told me, that things that are happening, that were happening to me. So I related very much to this story.
Well, that's good, yeah.
And
yeah.
you're now guests on my show many times, right?
Right. But the other thing I would like to say, I do a lot of reading, a lot of studying about the subject matter, because I want to be a good host, if you will, rather than to interview people on shows and all of that. Like George Norray, Beyond Belief, I don't know, or Corey Good, or David Wilcox, or even Emerald Smith. You like him?
Yes,
Right,
I
right.
do. And to bring this back a little in perspective
Sure.
here, which you've been able to help me very much, Ross, is that I feel that I have met these people. how do I feel that? I'm not sure. I've had no real validation. But when I see certain people on, which I watch Gaia, I believe, I can't, this is just a disclaimer because I'm not sure. But I feel that I've met them off this planet. I have to go into this a little bit more, but you're certainly helping me on this journey to understand that this happens to us. It's a little bit, you know, even what we're talking about is a little different. It's a little different way of thinking about things. But if you begin to open your mind, these are all important things too, because so many people are actually being hypnotized, which I want to, that have found that they have been abducted. It's not to be scared. They're helping us. So I feel that I have to talk about this a little bit, not all the time on my show because it has a different way of talk. You know, I talk
Certainly.
about different things, but it's important once in a while to just open our minds up a little bit.
But you've read books by Zachariah Sitchin, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
yes.
The 12th Planet?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So you know about the Anunnaki. Well, let me ask you a question. Based on your information and how you feel, and if you go back in your history in terms of being incarnated many times, do you feel you were part of the Anunnaki?
I absolutely do.
Okay.
And again, what I see sometimes when I turn my TV on, it's not coincidentally a coincidence, because I turned this on yesterday and I watched a show that you actually had recommended, and they were talking about all the things that I have come to understand from thousands and thousands of years ago, that there were other people on this planet that came down from another planet. It was my story that I had heard, but it gave me so much more validation to hear that there are many people today that believe this, that are beginning to open up much more. They're finding things when they go to sites, they're finding things that, well, let's go back to the pyramids.
Okay.
How in the world did they build pyramids here at that time? Wasn't there more? They were getting technology given to them.
Sure.
How else can we explain it? We only know of cavemen, of people that were just whatever they were doing. They didn't know what they were doing. But look how far we've come with technology. Where are we getting this technology?
True.
Could it be that we're getting it from people that know more about this technology, that are giving us advice? I totally believe that today. I don't expect everyone to believe it, but just to keep that open mind, it's so important that maybe, just maybe, there are people giving us this information.
I believe
Sure.
so.
And then people who channel, you were saying something?
I believe so. What she just said.
Yeah, there are people who are psychics, intuitives, there are people who channel people. So it's all coming to the fore now. So in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, it's going to be, may I say, millions and millions and millions of radio shows, podcasts, blogs, radio, television programs, going to be all over the place in terms of what's coming and for the disclosure. You were listening to Elizabeth April.
Right,
What do
I
you?
was.
And she's a channeler. She's been out there. What do you think about her?
I thought she was amazing. You sent me that, and I listened to about an hour and a half of her. There are so many people out there with this same, well, not so many, but
Sure.
there are people out there with this same message. So anybody that, it's not just me, that if you are interested in this, my advice is go into the research a little bit more. I do plug Gaia TV because it's very important. They do have these shows, but YouTube, just tune into any of these shows with YouTube. You'll hear people talking about this. These are credible people. The Secret Space Program, which has credibility, tremendous admirals and colonels.
Oh, absolutely.
They're all here to
Absolutely.
talk about this. It's all been secret. Today it's coming out in the open. I'm going to open it up again because I can see a lot of eyes looking at me.
Is it
Okay.
right? It has been secret, but go ahead. Any questions?
I was at the October this last year, and then they're going to have one this year too in Orlando, Galactic Spiritual Informative Conference.
When is that?
It was in Orlando. It was, and Eisenhower's granddaughter was there.
Right.
A lot of people
What-
who had books, and people around the world came together. It was in October.
Hold the mic. Can you hold the mic?
Oh, it was in October. Anyway, what happened at that event was because there was a lot of high vibration people was under the same roof. A lot of people was light workers or, it's like they believed they were from different planets and stuff like that. It was such an unusual things was happening. Cameras were like, and then the lights, the cell phones, and then some of them, like with the very high vibration, they saw spaceships, like, above us.
True.
And it was such an amazing experience. And there was a lot of stories about the space program and, the Eisenhower's granddaughter talk. And,
Laura
it's like,
Eisenhower.
Laura Eisenhower was there.
If you think about
When
this,
was
not
that?
to interrupt you,
It was in October.
it's a
And
way.
when is the next one?
It's going to be October again.
I have
If you
to-
want, I'll give Sally
We'll
the
go.
information.
But if you think about it, let's say from the fact that they are around us, wouldn't they want to show themselves? That's what I wanted to say. They're telling me to tell you this. At a convention, that they would do things and would say, oh, how is that happening? Because that opens our minds. I didn't want to interrupt your story, but they were telling me to say this because this is people that are interested in this. And when you see these things that are, quote, unexplainable happening, they're around us to tell us, please open your minds to this.
they will show what the people were there, and then some like people like who's been communicating with them, because not that everybody's ready. People who's
Right.
high vibration, people who's a lot of people believing, but not everybody's ready yet to see the
Sure.
spaceship coming down.
No.
It will be a chaos.
And I
So when
believe
the
they're
time is
giving
right,
us
they're gonna
what
show.
they call soft disclosure, like
Right.
what you're saying just now, just little things that are happening that we don't understand. But the more you see it, we say, how is that possible? I think they're trying to communicate with us. My message is they are.
And then what you were saying earlier, they're trying to help us.
Of
Yeah.
course,
And
of
that's
course, Rose, yes.
definitely not for to
Absolutely.
harm us, it's only to help us.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, yes, there is good and bad because that's the balance. But I think the majority of people that are coming through today, and I can't be sure, but I know I've had no bad experiences. I think if you're in a negative and you're feeling that it's bad, that will attract the bad. So my advice is keep your vibration high, accept little things that we don't understand, right? And especially at where you had just come from, where they will try to show themselves.
And actually, to me, it's like with my experiences, they're here. But because if your energy is not in that level, they might be vibrating in 7, 8, 10.
Right.
But we're in 3, we can't see. They might be sitting right here, we can't see it.
Perfect.
It's like they among us, but we can't see
We
it
can't
because
see
our
it.
vibration is not the same.
Perfect.
And I had that experience. It's like, I see like Brickell, like I used to live there. There when my vibration was high, I saw so many things with the normal three-dimensional I can't see it. But when my
Absolutely.
energy goes high, I saw so many
We
things.
are where our energy is. It's like, it's a parallel. So if we're in the 3D, which has a lot of lower vibrational energy, I mean, we can see that all around us. But if we just lift our energy up just to the fifth dimension, we're going to attract what is there. They're coming through very strong for me right now. We're going to attract everybody from that because they can communicate with us. They can't communicate with us when we're on a lower vibration. The people that can, the entities, are on that vibrational energy, and it's going to be a lot of negativity, which I don't have to even explain this. Look what's happening in the world today, a lot of negativity. So the advice in which I feel that, I want to tell people is try to lift your vibrational energy, fake it till you make it.
Christ consciousness,
Christ
and
consciousness,
then
God source.
go up the 5th dimension,
Exactly,
and
yes.
then starts communicating. Yes.
I'm curious because I believe that Freddie and Dawn are sitting over there. Do you have any questions for us?
The question I have of this lady, do you know Stephen Greer? Have you heard of him before?
Yes.
See, Dr. Greer?
Yes, I am very, like, sometimes I mix names, but when I see the face and the voice, it's like
Well, you know,
I've been studying and these since 2017 because certain things happened to me, and I just had to learn. And then also there was a time period for 6 months. My vibration was so high, I
Okay.
thought I lost my mind. It's like I was walking around New York and Miami. I was seeing things nobody else see. And then later on, I was seeing things on YouTube and other people talking. It was confirming what I saw. It was true. And so I experienced my own self too. And time to time, I still experience things Sally knows. And sometimes things materialize, and even actually I get some deliveries and we cannot explain where it's coming from but has meaning to me what it is. For example, once I had to pay attention to small details when I was doing some work, and from some African country, a little package comes, has a little what you call those things, binocular?
Yes,
It
yes,
was,
I was with you
not
when that happened.
magnifying glass. It just was. I just get like really like
From
think
unknown.
unknown places. It's like it's just like they saying it's like just giving me a hint. Just do this, do that.
I think we've got 3 more minutes.
Well,
Is there one more question in the studio
Let me take
here?
a minute. Dr. Greer, he's going to be in Washington, D.C. on June 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th with about 500 people from across the world who are former presidents of countries and vice presidents and heads of CIA and all that, KGB. So that's going to be at the National Press Club. So you might just Google that and keep up with some of that. If you know somebody in that area, they might want to visit and be involved in that process.
Thank you.
Yeah. So go ahead. Yes.
No, I was just going to say we only have a few more minutes. Is
Well,
there
tell them how they
anybody
can reach
that-
you.
Well, they can reach me.
You do
basically-
readings, right? You're still doing readings?
I'm still doing readings. Please
Okay.
call the studio at 888-994-4995. Thank you. This brings me back, so it's hard for me to say. My email is sallybarnard1111@gmail.com. Bernard is Barnard. Sally Barnard 1111@gmail.com.
They can also reach you at Call Me Zena,
Thank you.
1111
Thank
at
you too.
gmail.com.
Yeah, call me Zena 1111@gmail.com too. What happens, just to explain to the audience here, because I am on a different vibration when I do my show, it's very hard for me to come back, and as everybody is aware of, to give my own where they can contact me. So I appreciate you all telling me this. Thank you. Thank you.
And so your show is when?
My show is, thank you, is every Monday, 3 o'clock. It's a call-in show, but you can get previous recordings and of this show too by going into Facebook, Call Me Zena, and you can get all the back shows on there at any time at your convenience. Thank you, everybody, for that.
Okay.
I'm back. I think I'm back now. I'm on Earth. Thank you very much. Okay, I think we have a quick one more. We have 3 more minutes because the clock is there. I can see that. Is there
3
anything?
minutes? Okay.
2 more minutes? Maybe not.
What is he saying?
Okay. I think now is the end of the show.
It
Thank you
is?
very much.
It is the end?
Yes, it is the end now.
That's it?
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in.
Well, thank you
Please
for
tune
inviting
in.
me. Appreciate it.
And thank you for being my
Not a
guest,
problem.
Russ.
Not a
Thank
problem.
you, Rose.
No.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Lola. And thank you, Freddie and Dawn. Okay, way over there. Okay. See you all next week. Thank you. Bye-bye. Coincidence or not, it's time to trust your intuition and knowings. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book, artwork, and contact through artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week. This has been Call Me Zena.